Welcome to a session designed for those who are ready to take their performance, mindset, and results to the next level. This is where clarity meets strategy and motivation turns into action. Today, we're not just talking about success, we're building it step by step. If you're serious about transforming your potential into measurable results, you're in the right place. Let's get started. A man who disregards your boundaries shows a lack of respect, not only for you but also for the relationship as a whole. Boundaries are a fundamental expression of your self-worth, defining what you're willing to accept and where you draw the line. If he constantly dismisses or violates them, he's essentially saying that your feelings and needs don't matter to him. It might start subtly ignoring a request, pressuring you into something you're uncomfortable with, or dismissing your no as if it's negotiable. Over time, these small acts of disrespect build up, leaving you feeling unheard, powerless, and questioning your own sense of worth. It's important to understand that boundaries aren't there to push people away. They're there to protect the space where love and respect can flourish. A man who truly values you will listen, understand, and honor your boundaries. He won't argue about them or try to manipulate you into changing them for his convenience. If he doesn't respect this fundamental aspect of who you are, it's a clear sign that he doesn't deserve a place in your life. You are worthy of someone who sees the strength in your ability to stand up for yourself and cherishes the trust that boundaries create in a healthy connection. There's nothing more frustrating than hearing promises and declarations that never align with what a man does. Words are easy, actions require effort. A man who is inconsistent creates confusion, leaving you second-guessing where you stand. He might tell you he values you, but his lack of follow-through tells a different story. Perhaps he says he wants to see you, but constantly cancels plans, or assures you he cares, but doesn't show up when you need him most. This inconsistency creates an emotional roller coaster, keeping you tied to the hope that he'll eventually change. But let's be clear, a man who truly cares doesn't leave room for doubt. His actions will speak louder than his words, and his behavior will show his commitment. Stop giving energy to someone who keeps you in a cycle of broken promises. Your peace of mind and emotional stability are worth more than being caught in someone else's indecision. A man who can't show up consistently is not just unreliable, he's a reflection of a future filled with disappointment. When a man can't see or acknowledge your worth, it's a glaring sign that he's not the right person for you. This often shows up as subtle comments that make you feel small, or moments when he dismisses your accomplishments, opinions, or dreams. He might make you feel like you're asking for too much when all you want is respect and appreciation. You deserve someone who recognizes how special you are, someone who sees your unique qualities and treasures them. A man who downplays your value isn't just blind to your greatness. He's attempting to make you question it yourself. The truth is, no one has the power to define your worth except you. When you notice these behaviors, it's time to step back and evaluate the situation. Don't let anyone dim the light you bring to the world. The right person will celebrate your success, uplift your spirit, and admire everything that makes you who you are. When a man consistently avoids taking responsibility for his actions, it's a red flag that can't be ignored. Perhaps he blames others for his mistakes, refuses to apologize when he's wrong, or becomes defensive when faced with a problem. These behaviors show an unwillingness to grow and learn, which ultimately stunts the potential for a deep, meaningful relationship. Accountability is a cornerstone of emotional maturity. A man who takes ownership of his actions demonstrates respect for himself, for you, and for the connection you share. Without it, you'll find yourself constantly trying to fill in the gaps he leaves behind, carrying the weight of his shortcomings on your shoulders. You shouldn't have to beg someone to acknowledge their part in resolving conflict or making things right. It's not your job to teach a grown man how to be accountable. Walk away from someone who lacks this essential trait. You'll find peace in knowing you deserve better. If you feel like you're always the one initiating conversations, planning dates, or putting energy into the relationship, it's a sign that he's not fully invested. A connection where the effort is one-sided will leave you emotionally drained and questioning whether you're enough. Relationships are partnerships that thrive on reciprocity. Both people should feel equally invested in creating a bond that grows stronger over time. A man who puts in minimal effort is showing you where his priorities lie, and unfortunately, they don't include you. You shouldn't have to beg for his attention or convince him to show you that he cares. Someone who truly values you will naturally make the effort to ensure you feel seen, cherished, and supported. Don't settle for crumbs when you deserve a feast of love and effort. One of the most damaging signs that a man isn't worth your time is if he chips away at your confidence, either through overt criticism or subtle comments that make you question yourself. He might disguise it as joking or say he's trying to help you improve, but if his words consistently leave you feeling less than, it's time to reevaluate his place in your life. My reason for writing this blog post is this. There's a distinct kind of frustration that comes from dealing with someone who says all the right things but fails to follow through with their actions. When his words promise the world but his actions barely deliver a fraction, it leaves you in a constant state of confusion and disappointment. You might hear him say he cares deeply, that you matter to him, or that he's committed to building something meaningful, but when it comes time to show up, he's nowhere to be found. This inconsistency isn't just frustrating, it's emotionally exhausting. Actions reveal a person's true intentions far more than words ever could. Words can be rehearsed, smooth, and calculated, but actions come from the core of who someone truly is. A man who consistently fails to align his behavior with his promises is telling you through his actions that he doesn't value your time, energy, or the emotional investment you're offering. It's easy to believe in the potential of someone's words, to cling to the hope that they'll one day act on what they say, but hope without evidence will only lead to heartbreak. You may find yourself making excuses for him, rationalizing his behavior by saying he's busy, stressed, or dealing with something personal. While it's true that life can be overwhelming, consistency is not about perfection. It's about showing up, even in small ways, to honor your words and commitments. If he can't even make the effort to meet you halfway, it's a glaring sign that his priorities lie elsewhere. Inconsistency can create an emotional roller coaster that leaves you feeling unsteady and questioning everything. One day he might act like you're the center of his world, giving you his full attention and making promises for the future. But then days go by without so much as a text, leaving you wondering if you imagined the connection. This back-and-forth behavior is a form of emotional whiplash, keeping you hooked with just enough effort to make you stay, while never giving you the stability or clarity you deserve. The most dangerous part of dealing with someone like this is the toll it takes on your sense of self-worth. You might start to internalize his inconsistency, wondering if there's something you're doing wrong or if you're simply not enough to inspire his follow-through. But let me be clear, his behavior is a reflection of him, not you. Someone who values you will make it known through consistent effort, not by keeping you guessing. It's also important to recognize that inconsistency often stems from a lack of emotional maturity. A man who can't keep his word or follow through on his intentions is likely struggling with his own issues that he hasn't taken the time to confront or resolve. While it's tempting to think you can help or fix him, it's not your job to mend someone who isn't ready to take responsibility for his own growth. It is the cruel of a man essentially for the moral straightness of doing the right thing. Staying in a dynamic like this only prolongs your pain and delays your ability to find someone who truly deserves you. The right person won't leave you in a constant state of doubt. They'll make their intentions clear, not just through what they say, but through how they act every single day. You won't have to wonder where you stand or whether they care, because their consistency will be a reflection of their respect and love for you. It's okay to walk away from someone who can't offer you the stability and effort you need. In fact, it's necessary. Your emotional well-being should never be compromised for someone who doesn't have the capacity to meet you where you are. Letting go of inconsistency clears the path for someone who values you enough to show up time and time again. Your time, energy, and heart are too precious to waste on someone who doesn't recognize their worth. Life is too short to settle for inconsistency, especially when there are people out there who will cherish every moment they get to spend with you. You deserve someone who makes you feel secure, loved, and appreciated. Take a step back and evaluate what you're getting out of the connection. If you find that you're the only one trying to hold things together, it's time to let go. The freedom you gain from walking away will open doors to better, healthier, and more fulfilling relationships. You deserve someone whose actions speak louder than words, someone who proves their feelings with consistency and effort, leaving no room for doubt or confusion. There's a deep pain that comes from being with someone who doesn't truly see your worth. It often starts small. Subtle comments that make you question yourself, dismissive gestures when you share your thoughts, or a lack of acknowledgement when you achieve something meaningful. Over time, these little moments pile up, leaving you feeling unappreciated, unseen, and undervalued. When a man downplays your value, it's not just a reflection of how he views you. It's often a projection of his own insecurities. Instead of uplifting you, he tries to diminish your light, perhaps because it threatens to outshine his own. He might disguise his behavior under the guise of being realistic or honest. But the truth is, anyone who truly cares about you would never make you feel smaller to make themselves feel bigger. You may start to notice it in the way he reacts or doesn't react when you share your passions or celebrate your wins. Perhaps you worked hard to accomplish something significant, and instead of cheering you on, he brushes it off as unimportant or even mocks your excitement. These moments sting deeply because they chip away at the joy and pride you deserve to feel in yourself. His inability to recognize your greatness says more about him than it does about you. But the emotional toll it takes can leave you questioning your own self-worth. This kind of behavior can be incredibly toxic, especially if it's wrapped in manipulation. He might say things like, "You're being too sensitive," or "You're making a big deal out of nothing," when you express how his words or actions make you feel. These dismissive phrases are designed to make you doubt yourself, to keep you quiet, and to make you believe that your feelings are invalid. But your feelings are valid, and your value is not up for debate. Being with someone who downplays your value can also create an imbalance in the relationship. You might find yourself constantly overcompensating, trying to prove your worth, to show him how much you bring to the table, or to get him to recognize your contributions. This cycle is exhausting, and it shifts the focus away from the mutual respect and appreciation that should exist in any healthy connection. It's important to remember that you don't need anyone's validation to confirm your value. The right person will see you for who you are without needing to be convinced. They will celebrate your successes as if they were their own, take pride in your unique qualities, and make you feel like the incredible person you are. When someone downplays your value, it's a sign that they don't truly deserve a place in your life. You are not meant to shrink yourself to fit into someone else's limited perception of you. You are meant to shine, to grow and to thrive alongside someone who recognizes and honors your worth. This isn't about expecting perfection from a partner, it's about expecting basic respect and appreciation. You deserve to be with someone who doesn't just tolerate your dreams but actively encourages them. Someone who listens to your ideas with genuine interest, supports your ambitions without hesitation, and treats your victories as if they were their own. Walking away from someone who downplays your value is an act of self-love. It's choosing to prioritize your peace, your joy, and your growth over staying in a situation that makes you feel less than. It's acknowledging that you are enough exactly as you are, and that you deserve to be with someone who sees that clearly. Letting go of someone like this might be painful, especially if you've invested time and emotions into the relationship. But staying will only deepen the wounds, making it harder to rebuild your confidence and self-esteem. By stepping away, you create space for someone who will cherish everything about you and make you feel like the incredible person you are. You don't need someone who makes you question your value. You need someone who reminds you of it every day through their actions, their words, and the way they treat you. Life is too short to settle for anything less than a connection that uplifts you, supports you, and makes you feel truly seen. You are worthy of love, respect, and appreciation, and the right person will never make you doubt that. There's a unique frustration that comes from being with someone who consistently avoids taking responsibility for their actions. It's one of those behaviors that doesn't just create tension, it slowly erodes trust and emotional connection. When a man evades accountability, it becomes painfully clear over time that he values his pride more than the health of the relationship. This avoidance isn't just a small red flag. It's a reflection of deeper immaturity and an unwillingness to grow. You might notice this pattern in how he reacts when something goes wrong. Instead of owning up to his mistakes, he might shift the blame onto others, onto circumstances, or even onto you. Maybe he forgot an important commitment, and instead of apologizing, he blames you for not reminding him. Or perhaps he hurt your feelings with his words, and instead of acknowledging the impact, he accuses you of being too sensitive. These tactics don't just dismiss your emotions. They distort reality, leaving you to shoulder the weight of problems you didn't create. What makes this behavior so damaging is how it forces you into a corner. You find yourself carrying not only your own emotional load but also his, constantly trying to mediate, fix, and overcompensate for his lack of accountability. This dynamic isn't sustainable, and the longer it goes on, the more it depletes your energy, self-esteem, and sense of balance in the relationship. A partnership should feel like a mutual exchange of effort and care, not a one-sided struggle to keep things afloat. When someone evades accountability, they reveal a lot about their emotional maturity. Taking responsibility requires courage. Courage to admit faults, face consequences, and actively work towards solutions. Someone who avoids this process is often driven by fear of appearing weak, fear of being vulnerable, or fear of confronting their own imperfections. But fear is not an excuse to hurt or neglect the person who stands by your side. This behavior can also manifest as defensiveness. If you try to address an issue, he might turn the conversation around, accusing you of being critical or difficult. These reactions are designed to deflect attention away from his own shortcomings, leaving you frustrated and questioning whether bringing up your concerns is even worth it. Over time, you might find yourself walking on eggshells, suppressing your feelings to avoid conflict. In our final hours, let us compliment him rightly or wrongly. This reaction is designed to deflect attention away from yourself. But suppressing emotions doesn't resolve the problem. It only creates a deeper divide. Another troubling aspect of this pattern is how it undermines trust. Accountability is a foundation of any healthy relationship. Without it, you're left wondering whether he'll ever truly learn from his mistakes or if the same issues will keep resurfacing. Trust isn't just about fidelity or honesty. It's also about knowing that your partner is willing to take responsibility for their actions and contribute to the growth of the relationship. If the fundamental skills are taken for granted, what are the true consequences? Internal resistance or preferences, always being by the lowest tier. Without that, the connection feels fragile and unreliable. When someone evades accountability, it often stems from a lack of self-awareness. They may not fully understand how their actions affect others, or they might be unwilling to confront uncomfortable truths about themselves. This isn't something you can fix for them. Growth is a personal journey, and unless they're willing to look inward and do the work, the cycle will continue. You can encourage self-reflection, but you can't force someone to take ownership of their behavior. Staying in a relationship with someone who avoids accountability can also have long-term consequences for your well-being. Over time, their refusal to take responsibility can make you doubt yourself, question your own judgment, and feel increasingly isolated in the relationship. This emotional toll isn't something to take lightly. You deserve to feel heard, validated, and supported, not ignored, dismissed, or blamed. Walking away from someone who evades accountability is an act of reclaiming your emotional power. It's a way of saying, I deserve better than this. Letting go isn't about giving up on love. It's about creating space for the kind of love that values honesty, growth, and mutual respect. You deserve a partner who sees the strength in admitting when they're wrong, someone who takes action to make things right, and someone who values the relationship enough to grow within it. There's nothing weak about holding someone accountable. In fact, it's one of the strongest things you can do for yourself and for your future. A healthy relationship isn't about perfection. It's about two people willing to own their mistakes, learn from them, and move forward together. If someone isn't willing to meet you at that level, they're showing you that they're not ready for the depth of connection you bring to the table. You don't need to settle for someone who evades accountability. You are worthy of a relationship where issues are addressed openly, where feelings are respected, and where both partners are equally invested in making things work. Letting go of someone who can't meet those standards is not a loss. It's a step toward the love and partnership you truly deserve. There's a quiet kind of pain that comes from feeling like you're the only one giving your all in a relationship. At first, you might tell yourself that things will change, that maybe he's just busy or going through something. But over time, the truth becomes clear. He's not willing to match the energy and effort you bring. When a man puts in minimal effort, it's a sign that his priorities don't align with yours, and it's a situation that slowly chips away at your sense of worth and the connection you hope to build. Effort is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. It's not about grand gestures or extravagant displays. It's about the little, everyday actions that show care, consideration, and commitment. When someone puts in minimal effort, those small but significant gestures are noticeably absent. He doesn't call to check on you, doesn't show up when you need him, and doesn't make an effort to understand your needs or emotions. 3. It feels as if you're the one constantly trying to keep the relationship alive while he remains detached and indifferent. This lack of effort can make you question yourself. You might start wondering if you're asking for too much or if you've done something wrong. The truth is, wanting effort in a relationship is not unreasonable. It's necessary. Love and connection are built on reciprocity, on both partners investing their time, energy, and heart into creating something meaningful. If he's unwilling to do that, it's not a reflection of your value, but rather a sign of his inability to meet the standards of a healthy partnership. Minimal effort often manifests in subtle yet telling ways. He might cancel plans at the last minute, leaving you feeling unimportant. He may only reach out when it's convenient for him, ignoring the times when you need support or just want to feel cared for. Conversations might feel one-sided, with you carrying the weight of keeping the dialogue alive while he offers little in return. He imagines these patterns create a dynamic where you're always giving, yet receiving very little back, leaving you emotionally drained and unfulfilled. When someone puts in minimal effort, it's often because they're comfortable taking you for granted. They assume you'll always be there, regardless of how little they contribute. This sense of complacency can be incredibly hurtful, as it undermines the value of what you bring to the relationship. It's not just about feeling unappreciated. It's about realizing that your time, energy, and love are being undervalued. This dynamic can also breed resentment. Over time, the imbalance in effort creates frustration and disappointment. You start to feel like your needs and emotions are secondary, as though the relationship revolves entirely around their convenience. This isn't what love is supposed to feel like. A relationship should be a partnership where both people actively contribute to each other's happiness and growth. It's important to recognize that putting in effort doesn't always mean doing big things. It's about consistency, thoughtfulness, and the willingness to prioritize the relationship. It's about checking in on how you're feeling, showing up when it matters, and putting in the work to resolve conflicts instead of avoiding them. Effort is what transforms a relationship from something casual into something meaningful and lasting. When a man fails to put in effort, it's a clear indication that he's not as invested as he should be. Staying in a relationship where minimal effort is the norm can take a toll on your emotional well-being. It can make you feel as though you're not worthy of the care and attention you deserve, which couldn't be further from the truth. You are deserving of love that feels equal, balanced, and full of mutual respect. Settling for less only reinforces the idea that you're willing to accept crumbs when you deserve the whole meal. Walking away from someone who puts in minimal effort isn't easy, especially if you've poured your heart into the relationship. But sometimes letting go is the most loving thing you can do for yourself. It's a way of reclaiming your energy, your self-worth, and your time. It's about opening yourself up to the possibility of a partnership where effort flows naturally and love feels reciprocal. You don't have to beg for someone to care. The right person will put in effort because they want to, not because they feel obligated. They'll show you through their actions that you matter, that your feelings are important, and that they're willing to invest in the connection you share. Effort is a language of love, and the right partner will speak it fluently. Anything less is not worth your time, your energy, or your heart. There's a quiet devastation that comes when someone you care about begins to chip away at your confidence. At first, it might seem subtle, a comment here, a dismissive remark there, but over time, the effect becomes undeniable. When a man undermines your confidence, it doesn't just hurt in the moment, it plants seeds of doubt that grow into something much harder to overcome. The wounds aren't always visible, but they run deep, shaping how you see yourself and what you believe you deserve. This behavior often disguises itself as humor or honest feedback, but there's a sharpness to his words that can't be ignored. He might make jokes about your appearance, question your decisions, or point out flaws in a way that feels more like criticism than care. These remarks aren't meant to uplift or support. They're meant to keep you questioning yourself. The more you doubt your worth, the more control he holds over the dynamic between you. It's an insidious way to maintain power, leaving you feeling smaller while he remains untouchable. Sometimes it's not even about what he says, it's about what he doesn't say. The absence of encouragement can be just as damaging as outright criticism. When you accomplish something, he downplays it or acts indifferent. When you express your dreams or ambitions, he brushes them off as unrealistic or unimportant. This lack of support sends a clear message that your efforts, your achievements, and even your aspirations don't matter to him. Over time, this erodes your sense of pride and the belief that you're capable of great things. What makes this behavior so harmful is how it creeps into your own thoughts. You start second-guessing everything, your choices, your abilities, even your instincts. You might find yourself holding back in situations where you'd normally feel confident, afraid of how he might react or what he might say. This internalized doubt doesn't just affect your relationship. It spills over into other areas of your life, making it harder to trust yourself and your decisions. Undermining your confidence isn't always about words or actions. It's also about the way he makes you feel. His lack of attention or affection might leave you questioning your attractiveness or your worthiness of love. His unwillingness to prioritize you can make you feel like you're not enough, like no matter what you do, it will never be sufficient. These feelings don't just hurt, they linger, shaping how you see yourself long after the relationship has ended. What's particularly heartbreaking about this dynamic is how easy it is to internalize the blame. You might find yourself thinking, maybe I'm too sensitive, or maybe he's right. I could do better. But the truth is, no one has the right to make you feel less than you are. A loving partner lifts you up, celebrates your victories, and stands beside you in your struggles. They don't diminish your light, they help it shine brighter. When someone undermines your confidence, it's often a reflection of their own insecurities. By keeping you doubting yourself, they avoid facing their own shortcomings. This isn't about your flaws. It's about their need to feel superior, to maintain control, or to mask their fear of vulnerability. But understanding this doesn't make the impact any less real. You deserve a relationship where you feel safe, valued, and empowered, not one where you're constantly questioning your worth. The more proximity, the long-term effects of this kind of behavior can be profound. It can leave you feeling isolated, unsure of who you are without their approval. It can make you hesitant to trust others, fearing that you'll be met with the same dismissal or criticism. But it's important to remember that their words and actions don't define you. Your worth isn't tied to how someone else treats you. It's something that comes from within, something no one can take away. Breaking free from a relationship where your confidence is undermined is an act of self-love. It's a decision to prioritize your well-being, to reclaim your sense of self, and to surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you. It's not easy, especially when those seeds of doubt have taken root, but it's necessary. You deserve to feel strong, capable, and worthy, not just in your relationship, but in every aspect of your life. Walking away doesn't mean you've failed. It means you've chosen yourself. It's a powerful statement that says, I will not let anyone diminish my light. Healing from this kind of hurt takes time, but with each step, you rediscover the strength and confidence that were always within you. You are more than enough, and you deserve a love that reflects that truth. So,